But I think that's the logical learning curve with all of these things, because then the platform that catches on is the ones that's like, we're the secure vibe coding platform, right?
Right.
Hey everybody, welcome to Front End Fire, the weekly show that helps you stay up to date on the latest and the greatest in the front end world. I am your host today, TJ Van Tol. I have Paige Niedringhouse with me.
Hello, everyone.
And Jack Harrington.
We're bringing you the greatest for sure.
The greatest, and we've got some CodeSandbox news, we have some Parcel news, we got some TanStack news.
Oh, yeah.
We got some more Cheetos news also.
Oh, excellent.
Tee that up as well.
Missed it.
Oh,
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Without further ado. All right, Jack, you want to kick us off this week?
Yeah, so Parcel has come out with a new release, and the big banner thing is that they are adding RSC or React Server Component support to Parcel, which is really cool. And the documentation hints that it's like it has like a 10-line thing. You know, you can just like take any component and be like, oh, you can be React Server Component now, and so I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I'll actually try it out. And reality is quite a bit different, actually. Parcel, it's interesting. It's like, it's a bundler, right? It's not a framework. And so some of the convenient stuff of handling hydration and how that all works, that's all taken care of for you by something like the Next.js app router or Waku or, eventually TanStack Start when it starts doing RSC stuff. So basically what they're doing is they've kind of like left the wires of RSC exposed, and then you can kind of like hook it up yourself any way you want to hook it up, which is okay, cool. They do have a lot of, or 3 examples that kind of walk you through it, but those examples are way more complex than the 10 lines that they put into the documentation. So it's cool and it's very neat, and it's great that we now have more support like in Parcel. And I'm guessing that maybe the framework creators can also go and like get on top of those wires. But if you want to use it yourself, it's going to be some interesting learning.
That was my initial take when I saw this too, that I think this is aimed at people that want to be the framework builders and want an easier path to doing this, because when I tried RSCs on my own with the wires attached, it was not a fun couple of days when I went about doing that. But if you are a framework author, and they can take care of some of the bundling concerns, because it's hard to bundle with RSCs because their specific files need to go in specific places for your client and server and such. So if it can help accelerate those processes for the next greatest framework out there, then cool.
Great. Good for them. Yeah. But it's cool to see it, and nice to add it to the list of bundlers that can support RSC.
Yeah, it's cool that they're just more and more people are getting onto the RSC train and like adding support for it. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And Parcel is a general bundler, right? So they presumably they're doing this because they just see the popularity of RSCs, or they're getting requests for it from the front end world, or
they're probably getting requests for it. Yeah. And it wouldn't hurt any other, like if they're going to put a Vue on Parcel, I don't think it would hurt that, or just vanilla JS. It's not going to hurt that. So there's no particular reason not to do it.
It's like every tool or framework, though, that either uses React or uses Parcel. It's like as soon as the new thing comes out, the day it comes out, people are like, does this support the new React 19 yet? And it's like, no, dude, this just came out 2 hours ago. I have not updated everything yet.
Yeah. I mean, kind of at the base level, right? When you think about your code base, and you're going to have a single code base that's going to have some server stuff in it and some client stuff in it. The idea being that like the bundler is going to, some extensions to the bundler are going to tease out like what should go in the server bundle that's going to get run on the server, and what's going to put in the client bundle that's going to run the client. And then that's all of what this is about. And Webpack was probably the only other one really to support this, and now there's an extra. There's now Parcel too. So cool.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff. Paige, what news What news do you have for us this week?
This week, CodeSandbox has announced that they have joined forces with a company called Together AI. And I should say I only know this because I was on CodeSandbox earlier this week doing a little CodeSandbox demo for one of my own blog posts. And they had a little announcement banner. So they have joined with a company called Together AI, which is a leading hosting platform for AI. And it says that they do training, fine-tuning, inference, so all the different AI models that you and really like getting into the AI models, it sounds like. And CodeSandbox, which has been around since 2017, uses a technology under the hood that's called Firecracker, which actually is what I know, it's a great name.
Yeah.
But that's what actually spins up their little micro VMs for every
cool.
CodeSandbox that you make, and it does it really quickly. But they've built all this specific infrastructure to make Firecracker work super fast and do these little sandboxes for them. And they were talking to the CEO of Together AI, and they thought that actually CodeSandbox would be a really good fit for what Together AI is doing. So they now have CodeSandbox SDK, and they can programmatically spin up AI sandboxes that are just for LLMs to work inside or for you to interact with an LLM. And it'll run inside a micro VM, and it'll do all the things that CodeSandbox already can do under the hood. So it does things like memory snapshots, it does the virtual machine cloning, persistence with Git version control, so you can actually version out your changes, environment customization that uses Docker and Docker containers, and basically just all of the things that CodeSandbox has learned since being around and supporting themselves. And 2 million plus CodeSandboxes every week is how much they say people are using their little containers.
What?
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So they're
cool.
really, that's their foray into the AI world, is that they've partnered up with Together AI, and the future holds private URLs so that you can send your sandboxes to other people to try out, snapshot tagging for deployments, sessions inside of sandboxes, which is a pretty neat idea, and then integration with Sandpack, which is the interactive code playground. If you've ever looked at Josh Como's website, he uses Sandpack for all kinds of his little demos and like interactive snippets of code.
Cool.
It's really, really cool. So they're going to integrate with that, where the Sandpack can actually run VMs as well. So some really cool ideas and like thoughts, and a unique use case for CodeSandbox that I hadn't really thought about before. So it's pretty neat.
It does show that apparently the only financially viable way to run a company like this is to pivot to AI, because you have StackBlitz, who's the other company I feel like it does something extremely similar to CodeSandbox, and they're now all in on Bolt because that's their big moneymaker, and like their previous business ideas of being like a cloud editor and IDE seem to be completely out the window. And CodeSandbox seems to be in a similar boat, where that's what I've always wondered about these tools, is that they're so useful. CodeSandbox has been such a useful tool. StackBlitz has been such a useful tool, just a quick spin up something in the cloud environment. But they're more of these businesses that I've never given a cent to.
Right? Yeah.
And so like I think about all the time I use these sites, and it's like, well, this is a really cool service, but there's no logical path to me or businesses I work for giving you money. And this is kind of the logical end of that is, well, there's money in AI, so we'll jump on that train.
Yeah. Now, people expect to pay for AI, and then you could kind of like, boost up your numbers on that. Like, not necessarily paying for what it exactly costs. You're on a markup, and then let that markup, basically drive the revenue of the company. Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
So the only holdout now we have is CodePen.io, and that's Chris Coyer's site. And I'm not sure how they're going to get into the AI game or make money, but I mean, they're also Chris Coyer, so he's just like Mr. CSS himself. He probably has plenty of, CSS money to fund CodePen for years to come.
Yeah, some like DigitalOcean money to
right.
Yeah. Not everything needs AI. But
Yeah.
if you're a investor, right, you're gonna want to get on this like vibe coding train, I guess, because that you see that's where the industry is going. But I mean, I'm definitely seeing some on the other side of it, some vibe coding horror stories of people who've been like, I deployed my thing to the internet, and now he's getting hacked all over the place. Like, yeah, yeah, like the vibe coding stuff that AI didn't handle the security stuff for you, and now.
Yeah, but I think that's the logical learning curve with all of these things, because then the platform that catches on is the one that's like, we're the secure vibe coding platform, right?
Right. We
won't
run
get
it through
hacked.
another LLM that's like, nope, that's not good.
We have a special LLM that only looks out for API keys, and that's that's all its job is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And to keep you from using them badly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Good for CodeSandbox. It's like I said, it's been a useful tool. So glad to see them sticking around. And I don't really know about Together AI, but sounds like some interesting stuff that they're working on.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
My news for this week is just kind of a short one, but a headline that popped across my feeds was about TanStack Start, our favorite, Jack's favorite framework. He's got his hat back on again.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They have announced that their official deployment partner, quote unquote, is Netlify. And it sounds like basically just some built-in support for Netlify for TanStack Start applications. Netlify announced that they have a full starter template that they have put out for an AI chatbot, because of course it's an AI chatbot that just showcases TanStack Starts. They say that it's powerful data management capabilities alongside Netlify functions. So they're showing how to integrate it with Netlify's backend. And it's a sponsorship deal, so presumably there's some money exchanged to make this arrangement possible. But hey, I think it's good news, because just having more viable places to deploy apps helps lend more viability to TanStack Start, especially for a newer up-and-coming option for building apps. And I'm a Netlify fan here. I use Netlify for all sorts of things. And Netlify is really good at identifying what types of app you're using and giving intelligent defaults for deploying apps. So this is good news for me, because if I wanted to start experimenting with TanStack Start, this looks like a super easy way to get up and running with it.
Yep. As well as create TS Router app, another good way. And that's actually got Netlify integration in it, as well as an AI chatbot. So maybe that's what they're talking about. Hopefully that's what they're talking about. So, yeah. It's cool.
I imagine it's the same thing. I don't think they'd build multiple starter templates. So
yeah.
Multiple ways of getting up and running.
Yeah. But if Vercel's going to own Next.js deployments, Netlify is now going to own TanStack deployments.
Although, you can deploy TanStack wherever you want, which is
you can.
Big, yeah.
I mean, you can deploy Next.js, but
That's true.
Yeah, there's power in defaults, which is why Vercel has a pretty good business going for it, and maybe this will help Netlify has tended to just be, whereas Vercel is obviously we create Next.js and that's what we do. Netlify's strategy seems to be more we support everything and try to make everything work with us, and so I see this as just an extension of that.
Well, and I was going to say, Netlify strategically acquires things or partners with up-and-comers to lock in their advantages there.
Yeah, and I would say Vercel with Next.js, it's also kind of like there's definitely some features of Next.js that work better when you're deployed on Vercel. Let me just put it that way. So, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. I know we have some bonus news this week. I see, is this Oxlint Beta? Am I reading that right?
That is correct. Oxlint Beta just came out, and it is ready to replace ESLint for small to medium-sized coding projects, or so it says.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the holdup is for slightly larger projects, but they actually recommend that you turn off, I guess, type checking or ESLint checking while you're running your project with Oxlint if you're using it for a large project. I'm not sure. But yeah, but they're ready for small to medium-sized projects. They have quick installation instructions to get started with Oxlint and replace it. They have 500 built-in rules that are from all different types of ESLint libraries. So they've got TypeScript, they've got Unicorn, they've got JS docs, they've got Node and Jest and VTest, and like they've got a laundry list of rules that they support. They have support for the .oxlintrc.json file. So they've got config files, and then they also can do linting for scripts and Astro, Svelte, and Vue files. So you don't have to, do some weird configurations to be able to have them read .svelte or .astro files and lint those. And they say that they are at least 2 times faster than any of the other ESLint parsing agents that are out there for VS Code and different IDEs right now.
Well, they should be, because it's written in Rust.
I know. Their website says 50 to 100 times faster.
Oh, there you go.
But when I looked at the actual benchmarks that they had for, 6,000 or 7,000 files in a project, it was really like twice as fast. So they're still working up to that 50 to 100 times faster.
Well, there's a lot of, you got to like go back to the operating system to get the files, right? So you're kind of rate limited there. There's a lot of I/O.
I wonder how much faster, because I'm thinking just my own personal usage. I still have ESLint in the projects I've used, because it's never struck me as an especially slow tool.
No, it strikes me as slow, man. I must have it misconfigured, because it's slow.
In the editor?
Not in the editor, but like, when I do like the lint as a command.
Man,
if you run it on a full repo, it is kind of slow.
Oh.
I feel like I almost never actually do that, though. I just look at the problems tab and then like fix stuff in a file as I'm going through it until it builds, and then I quit.
Well, and then it should be part of the build at least.
That's usually my workflow too. Is I try to catch the errors in the editor as they happen, and then any ones I miss, the CI will flag for me, and then I'll fix it locally. So it's not often that I'm just saying run ESLint on the whole project. Yeah. So it means my CI builds are probably going a little bit slower because of this, but it's just the power of defaults, though. It's funny because you can read, even if this is a tool that's 50 to 100 times faster, I'm not like, well, I'm going to drop everything and replace it, because you just get so used to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's usually fine. I'm, opening a PR and working on something else while the CI is building anyway. I don't mind that it takes a minute. All right.
Yeah.
But if I was starting from scratch, it's something that's totally due.
I guess they're going to the website. They've got another like JavaScript engine on the way, the Nova JavaScript engine. I'm like, really? Do we have to have another JavaScript engine? Really? Don't we have enough?
Do we need another?
Really? Yeah, exactly.
Do we know who the people behind this tool even are?
Good question.
I mean, they have lists of sponsors and such, but I mean, this is replacing tools like this is pretty ambitious.
Yeah,
so
right.
I am kind of curious who is behind this. And
their big sponsor is Schoolhouse?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't know. Oh, interesting though.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I feel like we've talked
Schoolhouse is
about this.
by Khan Academy.
Oh.
So there's
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I really feel like we talked about this in a previous episode, and yet now I cannot remember who it is that is behind this, because I felt like it was some bigger names when we talked about it. Was either OXC or maybe I'm thinking of RS Pack and like all the RS.
Oh yeah, we have to talk
tooling.
about RS Pack for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
The name is also weird. The JavaScript oxidation compiler.
Yeah,
what does that even mean? What do the words mean? Like
with a logo of an anchor, like what?
Right? Just... An anchor with like little air bubbles coming off of it. I'm assuming those have some oxygen in it. Like what?
Well, oxidation is when stuff starts to rust, and it's written in Rust. So you make that leap across.
So be a good test. If you know more about this project, let us know in the YouTube comments, because clearly we're out of our depth on this one. So
it's got a cute little crab. Make it around the crab. It's a cute crab. Whatever. Do that. Right? Clawy, the JavaScript compiler. Right? I don't know. Yeah.
Cute mascots. They really carry projects.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. My wife's Dino hoodie finally showed up. The pink dinosaurs. Absolutely in love with it. Yeah.
Well, I've got one additional piece of bonus news. Google has bought Wiz for $32 billion. I don't know if either of you saw this headline at all.
I did not see that. So
I
wait,
didn't-
what?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that much. What is Wiz again?
Right?
So Wiz, I had not heard of Wiz, but apparently it is a cloud security platform that helps organizations detect and manage security risks across their cloud infrastructure.
Okay.
And apparently its killer thing is that it has this thing called agentless security, which means companies don't have to spend hours deploying individual security programs or agents on every device they want to secure. It connects to a cloud environment remotely. And this is the part that really goes over my head, allowing experts to oversee their setup using a digital twin or a copy of a cloud setup that they can use to simulate the impact of potential threats. So it sounds like they're a security company. They're a cloud security company. And it sounds like they have some way of like replicating your own cloud environment and then try to attack it, more or less, to look for vulnerabilities.
Oh, interesting.
Or at least
Okay.
that's the sense I get. Regardless, it seems to be a pretty lucrative thing to be doing if
Apparently.
you're getting acquired for $32 billion. There's some interesting notes in this that I thought were just worth sharing as I read through this. So because Google is worried about antitrust pushback for this, because it's been kind of hard to acquire companies recently, at least at this scale. They have a clause in this contract where there is what's called a reverse termination fee of $3.2 billion. Whoa. Basically meaning Google is guaranteeing that if, for whatever reason, this deal falls apart because of regulatory reasons,
Like
they
the
will
Adobe
pay
Figma deal
Wiz
fell apart.
$3.2 billion, which is, according to this, the among the highest of all time. And a similar time where this was actually used is there was the same similar fee when Adobe was going to acquire Figma. And then when that deal fell apart, Adobe paid out Figma a $1 billion termination fee because of that deal not ending up happening. So there's also some speculation that Google waited to make this happen until the Trump administration went into effect, figuring that maybe they'd be more amenable to acquisitions than the Biden administration was. Who knows how much that is true or whether that is even going to happen.
Yeah.
But just kind of some fascinating politics and big money being thrown around. And there's also speculation that this is Google trying to keep up with the Amazons and Microsofts of the world. Google's long been third place in the sort of cloud hosting space. And here's like something they're doing to try to boost their numbers, basically.
It's got to be confusing internally, though, because their UI framework internally is called Wiz. Everything that they use to build their sites is called Wiz. So
I was just thinking that Angular and Wiz are, I mean, that was like last year.
Yeah, the merger thing, which you know,
and
they were all like, "Wow,
Wiz.
everything's merging." They're like, "Wait, you're merging with an internal product that we don't even know about?" Like, I guess that's cool. Yeah.
Another Wiz. I don't know.
Another Wiz. Or maybe there isn't going to be a Wiz. Like, you know, Angular take over in Google, and then there's no more Wiz. But then there is a Wiz, because now you got the thing.
Now you got to integrate this whole other company.
I know. You can't go without a Wiz in Google.
Will they rewrite, after the acquisition, will they rewrite Wiz's backend in Wiz? That's the real...
yeah. Crazy. Or front end, as it were. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly. They're front end, yeah.
Crazy.
Well, we'll see if this one goes through or if it gets hung up in the courts as well.
Yeah. But maybe we picked the wrong profession in the front end world. Apparently, like cloud security is where it's at. But cloud security or AI, then you just need AI for your cloud security.
And AI creating cloud security issues that then it needs to fix with the cloud security software because of vibe coding. There you go.
Vibe coding.
It's a vicious cycle.
Vibe coding cloud security software.
Exactly. Yes.
Aim it at these people who are vibe coding and hitting security vulnerabilities.
Right.
This is
creating
$1 million
security
idea.
vulnerabilities. Yes, exactly. that they don't even know about. And then they get angry. Please don't attack my site.
Good times.
Good times.
Those things are making us happy. We have no fire starter this week, so why don't we talk about the things that are making us happy?
Okay.
Yes.
Paige, what is making you happy this week?
Well, Formula One is back for their 2025 season, and that means that Netflix has released their latest season of Drive to Survive, I think about a week before Formula One started. So that is what's making me happy. This is season 7, I think, of Drive to Survive, and this season it definitely feels more dramatic. They have this commentator, Will Buxton, who is an F1 commentator. He's written about it forever. And he does like the best sound bites that I have ever heard for just stoking drama. He's like, this is going to be the race to end all races. And these people have, they got to sink or swim. And he just does these one-liners throughout every episode. And it's like, I'm sure they asked him to do it, but the way that he phrases it just is like perfect for sound bites on social media or anywhere. And I don't know how he is so good at doing these things, but his hyperbole is just like on point, and it is a really good, fun season to watch because drivers are changing teams and some drivers don't have seats for next year, and then there's drivers getting kicked off and dropped mid-season, and new ones are coming in. So there's a lot of shifting sands, and it's going to be 2025 is going to be an interesting season because so many drivers have changed teams, and so many teams have just completely changed their strategies, and it's going to be a good season, I think.
And yet, it kind of started off very similar, right? You had McLaren's up at the top. And Red Bull and Ferrari's charging
Ferrari is in there,
even though like they changed to Hamilton. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First race was super exciting though. I have not seen Drive to Survive yet, but the first race was quite good. But it does look like McLaren might kind of run away with it. It's a little too early to say, but they look pretty good.
Yeah, McLaren's got 2 excellent drivers, and that's a good place to be.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max does not seem to have his teammate was just not part of the race really at all, which is kind of similar to last year too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Liam Lawson, who's the teammate, like he took over for a couple of runs last year and looked really good. So he just needs to kind of get into a groove, and then maybe he'll be like really good.
Yeah. I'm really disappointed that Carlos Sainz didn't get picked up by either Red Bull or Mercedes, and he's now racing for Williams. But part of what they talk about in Drive to Survive this year is that he may just be biding his time with Williams until the Audi team gets started in 2026, and then he may be switching to Audi, depending on what kind of a seat they can offer him. But I really like him just as a person because he seems a lot less caught up in the egos of a lot of the other drivers.
There's egos in F1 now.
Oh my gosh, there are egos. But I like him. He seems harder working and less caught up in that than some of the others. So I hope that he either does well in Williams and really brings them up, or he gets a seat in one of the top teams again and gets to race for them.
Whoever initially came up with the Drive to Survive idea is just a genius because it's a sport that lends itself. It's kind of just a soap opera because you have so much money, and then you have these a very dangerous sport. You have this team dynamic. You have drama in between drivers, in between teams. It makes for perfect soap opera like TV, and Netflix just jumped on it, and it's been obviously wildly successful.
Yep.
It is.
And Apple's got its F1 movie coming out. So,
yeah.
Big time for F1.
Jack, what is making you happy this week?
So DIY stuff is making me happy this week. I finally got my mushroom situation figured out. So we have these mushrooms that we're solar powered, little light, essentially ceramic, glass or glass mushrooms that had I didn't know it was in there, little lights. And they were on a solar line. And the problem was that, it's Portland, so we don't get a huge amount of sun. And I wanted to go and do the conversion of getting in, take out the solar and figure out how to actually get it on my, regular, low voltage lighting line. So I finally figured it out, where it's like the thing called a buck, which is like this mini little power supply that converts AC to DC. And then I was able to like finally just kind of figure out what was going on with them. And then one broke, and so I actually had to like open it up and actually see what was inside. It was really just fun. It was like this little interesting investigation. Turns out like little 5-volt LEDs in there, nothing interesting. So and now I'm like totally less, worried about these lamps. I can basically, I've got all the 3D printed parts now. I figured out like all the parts and stuff and designed them and things. And it's just been a little exploration, like a month-long exploration of trying to get these things on. And then, like my lights will turn on at 4 or 5 p.m. and, you'll start to see these little mushrooms kind of pop up, like little lights. It's very cute. Yeah.
I would love to see a picture of this.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure how many are they? Were they like along a pathway? More. Well,
they come in sets of 3. You can get them at Lowe's. Actually, I mean, I could probably like just put like a recipe for how to do this, like the Amazon parts that I got for the bucks and the little 3D printed parts that I made. But yeah, it's a you could spend with a soldering iron. Like once you know what you have to do, it's like a 5-minute job.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. That sounds very cute.
You have to have an enclosure though, because it's in the elements. So that's the other thing. You got to 3D print a little box and put the parts in. Yeah.
I've got a little enclosure that I actually have it right here that I've been using. I found
there you go. Yeah.
Little enclosure from a company called Voltaic that makes these things, that has a built-in solar panel.
Oh,
and then
nice.
like a vent in here. So I've been using it because I've been working on like air quality monitors, and this is perfect for something like that because you can charge it off the solar thing, and it's weatherproof. And
you get like 5 volts consistently. Is that what? Yeah.
It's very low voltage because it's only coming from the solar, and then it's got this like lithium ion capacitor inside that you can connect to as well.
So like 3 volts. I mean, you have to so either all the electronics are running like 3 volts or 5 volts generally.
Yeah, it's our equipment takes either 3 or 5, so it's one or the other. I'd have to look to know specifically.
Very cool, nice, fun to do that kind of stuff though, right?
Yeah. It's very for anybody that hasn't. There's something satisfying about building something physical, especially if you're the type of person.
Right?
And if you're listening to this, you are probably the type of person that mostly builds digital things. It really is something when you work with actual physical things out there. It's a totally different feeling.
No, totally, 100%. Even though you can still program it, right? With your IoT
for sure.
stuff, there's still a programming aspect to it, but it's a lot more limited. It's like you're writing in C usually.
But you got AI. You can vibe code the C.
Oh, that's
right?
true.
Like,
Vibe code C. That sounds like a recipe for a white knuckle disaster.
Maybe it depends on, but if it's just controlling something that's controlling your lights, right? What's
fair
the
enough.
worst thing it could do?
Yeah, just short the lights is what it.
Yep. Not the end of the world.
That's what I did the first time I actually tried this thing, because I thought like, I actually I attached AC to the mushroom. AC DC, no, that's not good. And the and the little like LED that was in there literally exploded inside the mushroom.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, well, I didn't see it, but later on as I pulled it out, I'm like, oh wow, there's only half an LED there. Like, yeah, you blew it up.
Fun stuff. I have 2 things that are making me happy this week. I am cheating, but the first is an update to last week because we covered the Charizard Cheeto, Flaming Hot Cheeto last week. Well, this week on auction is a Michael Jordan shaped Cheeto, a Jumpman Cheeto that is also available from Golden Auction. I will put a picture of it in here.
How is Nike not getting on them about this?
Who is finding these Cheetos too?
Right? Yes.
He's not just eating them when they open the pack.
Right? You open up the thing of Cheetos and you like literally like spread it out on the kitchen table like, oh, I think that one looks like, crescent
Michael Jordan.
So I put it in our Discord if you want to check it out. This Cheeto is still available. The auction ends on March 29th, so you still have time to get in on this yourself.
Oh, okay.
The current bid is $5,650, so you're going to have to outbid that to get in on it. But apparently this is a thing now, so if you are a fan of Cheetos, be on the lookout. If you've got something that looks looks interesting. This is like a business opportunity now. You can get this thing up for auction and try to make a buck.
Exactly.
But it seems to only be Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Any other type of Cheeto, don't
There-
apply. Only Flamin' Hot.
There might be something about the manufacturing process that
I'm a flaming hot Cheeto.
yep. And
Ridiculous.
the other thing making me happy this week is so the NCAA tournament is starting today. It's starting actually pretty much right now as we're recording this. And one thing that I love is that the people behind the NCAA back end, like their web application where you can watch multiple games at once and whatnot, they've been doing this for 20 some years. It's crazy. They always put a boss button in their web interface. The idea being if you're watching the games, because the first games come
that's
on
hilarious. Yes.
on like weekdays during the day, right? So the idea is if you're watching it and your boss comes by, you hit this button and it transforms the interface into something that just looks like stereotypical businessy. So this year they built a full-on like email app, and it's obviously like just a little joke thing, but they put a decent amount of effort into it where like you can actually click on emails and view them, and some of the interface like actually functions.
Oh, that's hilarious.
What I love about that is, somebody like spent a good amount of time to make sure this worked, and it wasn't just like it didn't just flip to a screenshot. It actually flipped to something that is minorly functional. And I love that for like the handful of people like me that go to look for it every year, because they do a different design on this every single year too. So there's I don't know. I just something about that is just so fun. I just love random stuff like that.
Vibe coding has to help with this, right? I mean, at a certain point, it's like, oh yeah, can you make it open the email? Like, the emails are openable. Sure, yeah, why not?
Oh yeah, and you could
all
say
right,
like put 10 emails in the list, and for each
exactly.
email give it like a realistic looking business context.
Yeah, I need that report on blah 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 blah. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, it can. Oh, it can totally do that.
Because they've done
is like-
spreadsheets in the past. There's sites where you can look up, like if you Google this, you can find lists of all their previous times doing this. It's kind of there's a very small cult following of this.
Of the boss.
this-
Oh no, of
for
course
this
there
button.
is. Of course there is. Yes.
This is like the ultimate Easter egg in a website that they do this every year. I bet they have so much fun figuring out what they're going to do each time.
Oh
Yeah. This makes somebody's day like every year that they get to put this together. And I'm just happy that this is the sort of thing though that you feel like some corporate somebody kills at some point. So the fact that it's been continuing to run for decades at this point just it makes me happy.
Keep it up.
Agreed.
Yep.
100%.
Awesome. Well, this has been a fun episode. I'll end, as always, by thanking our sponsor, the Blue Collar Coder channel. You can check out Blue Collar Coder on YouTube. You can also follow our show in a number of different places. We are on X. We are on Blue Sky. We are on YouTube now. So maybe if you're watching us on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things. If you are using the JavaScript oxidation compiler, let us know in the comments, because we're looking to learn a little bit more about that. And yeah, check all that stuff out. That information is in the show notes if you're listening on podcast, or it's in the YouTube's description if you are watching on YouTube. But I think that is another episode. So thanks everybody for joining, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
See you then.